Hi, I'm Lita Leapin.
And I'm Jim Gordon.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, folks, we're back doing what you are telling us is the most popular segments we do, and that is food restaurant segments. This time we're at the brand new Bruno restaurant in the really cool boutique hotel, the Versanti Hotel in Richmond.
Already very popular, and they just opened. And so we're going to taste some great cocktails. We're going to sample some amazing food. Lots to do. So let's get right to Our City Tonight. Well, I pulled the lucky straw again, and I get to sit down with Brad and talk about these delicious cocktails here at Bruno. What is the inspiration for these amazing cocktails?
Definitely. At Bruno, we always say that it's a culinary journey our guests are venturing on, and it really begins with the cocktails, which we've aptly named destination cocktails. So the first cocktail here is Anne Turan cocktail. It's a delicious spritz-inspired cocktail. And it gets its name from the well where the gin, the distillery that makes the gin, where they draw the water from. So to make the Anne Turan cocktail, we add mountain berry infused botanist gin, then some lemon juice, also some Giffard blackberry syrup, soda water, and sparkling wine. And it's garnished with some fresh lemon and blackberries.
Ooh, that sounds, no wonder it's a crowd favorite, your signature cocktail. I can certainly understand why. What is this next delicious looking cocktail?
Sure, for our next destination, we're traveling all the way to Jalisco in Mexico, where we have a delicious, refreshing cocktail, a little on the tart side, that has Cazadores Blanco tequila, some rosemary infused Cointreau that we get from our own local farm.
Oh, cool.
The rosemary, that is.
Yes.
And then we also have fresh lime juice in there, as well as some grapefruit juice. And then that's garnished with some lime and then the fresh rosemary.
Delicious. And our final cocktail.
Definitely, and not to be outdone for its alcoholic counterparts, we have the Thai Basil Shrub, which is one of our zero proof cocktails. A delicious cocktail that just happens not to have any alcohol in it. But of course you can always add, which some guests have already done.
Okay.
And that has a delicious Somme cordial that's made with Thai basil. It has some fresh squeezed orange juice in it, some cracked pepper, a little bit of lime juice, and then also it's just garnished with a little bit more of the cracked pepper and some Thai basil on top as well.
How interesting. And zero proof cocktails are making their way onto most restaurants' menus now because,
Absolutely.
wow, what a great alternative as opposed to, the typical thing you get, juice.
This is it, yeah. I mean, just because for whatever your reason is, and there's plenty, just because you're not enjoying the alcohol in the cocktails doesn't mean you can't be part of the party.
Perfect.
Can't be having an enjoyable, refreshing cocktail, which we're happy to offer.
Well, these look delicious. Thanks, Brad. And we are going to come back to Bruno and take a look at some of the delicious food offered here later on in the show.
He's dead. Bugger off.
Dragon? Really? I mean, he's
was it?
probably...
You're looking at a scene from a brand new movie that is available now in theaters. You can also check it out online. We'll have more details on that. The movie is called Bestsellers. It stars a couple of my favorite people, Aubrey Plaza. It also stars iconic, legendary actor Michael Caine. We have the director here. She is a Canadian director and actress, Lena Rossler. She's coming to us from Toronto. Lena, welcome to Our City Tonight.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
It's great to have you. And first off, congratulations on this movie. First of all, tell our audience a bit about Bestsellers and the character Caine plays of Harris Shaw, but also who's like a J.D. Salinger. But give our viewers a little detail on this movie and what it's all about.
Well, Bestsellers is, I call it almost like a surrogate father-daughter love story between these great actors, Michael Caine and Aubrey Plaza. Michael plays an amazing role of this disgruntled author and novelist, and Aubrey Plaza plays his would-be publisher. And they're sort of thrown together, and they have to go on this book tour, and all kinds of strange hilarity, disaster, you name it, ensues. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Not to give anything away, because I'd like you all to go watch it.
Yeah, and you know what's great too about this is because it's a problem, or not a problem, but it's a conflict for people like myself who are older. You've got Michael Caine's character who's going, I don't understand what the social media and all this stuff is about that authors now have to do. Back in his day, it was just, here's the book, go away. So you've got Aubrey trying to get him into the 21st century, really, on tour and saying, you've got to do all this stuff. Tell us a bit about how you brought all these people together. As I said, Aubrey is someone who just gets better and better everything I see her in. And Caine, of course, is, as I said, one of my favorites. How did these people all come together?
Yeah, well, I have to credit the producers and Cassian Elwes, who produced this film along with his daughter, Ariel Elwes, and also some great producers in Montreal. Cassian had seen Aubrey hosting the Independent Spirit Awards, and something just clicked for him. Of course, we all already knew her and her talents, and same goes with Michael. And Cassian had worked with Michael before, recently on a different picture. We were just lucky that they both really loved the script, and the pairing of them was kind of just a really fun, out-of-the-box idea, because both of them are obviously well-known. Michael, I mean, it goes without saying, exceptionally talented. Aubrey's a bit more known for her comedic sort of skills, but they both have real depth and sensitivity and a real kind of facility to find those moments. So I think together in this film in particular, they worked really beautifully together, and I'm just really proud of their performances in the film.
Yeah, the one thing I love about her is that she, I don't know how else to put it other than she doesn't play this for laughs. It often gets laughs, but she's playing it for real as opposed to trying to get laughs, if that makes sense. And speaking of awards, you are certainly no stranger to awards. I was looking at your resume before we did this interview, just doing a little research. You have done a lot of stuff. You did 3 short films before. There's all critically acclaimed. You're a well-known actress. Acting credits include The Lost Girl and Private Eyes, Murdoch Mysteries. I bring up your acting too because I often wonder whether when an actor moves from acting to directing, when you're on a set as an actor, you're soaking this stuff up, which will obviously benefit you when you become a director's actor because you know what it's like to be an actor.
Yeah, 100%. I think you absorb, whether or not you're realizing that you're absorbing it. I also come from a theater background and from a writing background. I have degree in English literature and creative writing. So all of those things I think are par and parcel. They're sort of spokes of the same wheel, and for me, the wheel is storytelling. So all of those elements come together. And as far as working with actors, of course, being in that hot seat, understanding what it means to have a camera in your face, and trying really hard and embodying a story, embodying somebody else. Of course, I have empathy for what that means for an actor playing any role. So hopefully all those elements come together to give me some insight and some knowledge and some creativity and stuff to bring. But at the same time, I just love being, as you say, the sponge. And I learned so much on this set. This is my first feature. I learned so much from these master actors, an amazing crew. And I was blessed to be working with these people on this project.
Well said, Lena. As I said, I look at Caine. He's one of those people that I go, he made his first movie 60 years ago. I cannot wrap my head around that. But congratulations to you with this film. I really want to encourage people to see it because we're getting back into movie theaters now. Bestsellers will be in theaters this month in Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal. You can check it out on Apple TV, iTunes, and other VOD platforms. Lena Russler, thank you for taking the time to join us from Toronto. I wish you success with this film, and I'm going to hold you to coming back to talk about your next film because we're expecting a lot more from you.
I can't wait.
Cheers. Thank you.
Somehow, you have over 20,000 followers.
Christ had followers. It didn't end well for him.
The Bible was a bestseller, wasn't it?
Well, we're back here at Bruno Restaurant and Bar in the Versanti Hotel here in Richmond. Well, Lita sampled the cocktails. We're with Chef William now, who I think has put enough food out, Lita. We will be here until probably next week, which is I'm not complaining about.
They're going to be kicking us out.
Chef William, welcome.
Hi, my pleasure. Welcome to our restaurant.
Thank you.
Love it here. Now, you have quite an interesting elevation up to where you are right now, your background. Tell us a little bit about that. It's fascinating.
I think everyone becomes a chef differently, and our trajectory of our career is all determined on our passion. And how does that happen? I washed dishes for 2 years. I started from just walking into a restaurant, given an opportunity. I wore a suit just like yours.
Yeah.
I was given the not opportunity to not take it off and change, which means by 4 a.m. that day, I was completely soaked and ruined.
Suit is ruined.
Yeah, suit's ruined. But the career was built, right? And I saw everything I wanted to be that day. And my career life flashed before my eyes, and I was like, I know what direction I need to head.
Yeah, but you have a degree in animal biology as
Correct.
well as you are a violinist.
Yeah,
So wonderful. Your artistic side is showing.
Thank you.
So much food to talk a bit about, and we can't talk anymore about your talent because it's depressing both Lita and I. But, where do you want to start? Because there's so much here
Wow.
for our viewers to see.
The best part about sharing is you can start anywhere you want.
Okay.
But I'll let the start your side because you're my guest.
Sure.
But so this is going to be the burrata orchard salad. You know, the season's changing now, but some of the last of the season's stone fruit. Tomatoes are from our farm on Cortez Island.
Nice.
We do have 120 acres, and we have an organic lavender farm. So you'll see later some dishes that will entail that lavender, organic English lavender. But yeah, all the tomatoes are from us. The herbs, the flowers are grown locally from one of our cooks. Right, she puts a huge passion in there, and she grows them organically for us every week, and she sells it to the Fairmonts and everywhere else. So she's doing really great. That being said, it's finished with a verjus vinaigrette and berries of the season.
Beautiful. So, wow.
Where are we going next?
Where are we going next
Okay,
on
the
this
next
journey?
after this, treat this like the Okanagan interior.
Yeah.
We're gonna head to the ocean after.
Okay.
Right, and then here we have oysters, fresh cushy oysters, all from Vancouver Island. When we talk about oysters and bivalves, some of the most sustainable, some of the most sustainable products, things that we can harvest from the sea right now. Right? And just like I'm an ambassador of OceanWise, so a mandate right now, a huge one is how do we eat lower down the food chain, right? And how do we eat where we're eating things that have zero input. Kelp, for instance, on this dish, oysters, mussels, clams, all those shellfish. We don't need to put anything into the ocean. They're filtering the ocean to give us life after.
And we're gonna surprise our viewers at the very end. You got something you're gonna do with that dish there. I'm intrigued by the basket over here.
Yeah,
What's-
the basket. Once we work our way, I did mention earlier the lavender farm that we have on Cortez.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
Yes. So when we got a chance to stay there, and we stayed in a bunch of like geometric domes that were almost like camping but glamping, surrounded by the lavender fields. And then it's just like, how do we represent those who built this establishment? How do we represent local? And also, how do we represent like a dish that can be quite signature to what we do here? So I was like, okay, we're gonna have a picnic inside, like lying on the lavender field. And at that point, okay, what else is opulent? Truffles, local honey, and then we're also finishing that off with the lavender. So if I can just show you quickly from this one, and we'll finish it with the sauce afterwards. But imagine like a little taste of the lavender field.
Wow.
You know, surrounded by the lavender that literally is infused into this duck. So again,
Wow.
duck, yeah,
Beautiful.
Fraser Valley duck. So I mean, again, we want to make sure we source as locally as possible,
Sure,
when
yeah.
possible, and embrace those who put all the effort into making food for us.
And this beautiful centerpiece that we've been drooling over, this is incredible. I'm just going to let you talk about that.
Okay, I want you to just imagine the bottom of the BC Ocean, of our coastline, and this is what the depths of our ocean actually bring us. Giant Pacific octopus, ultra-sustainable wild sablefish.
Right.
With this, we also have wild pink scallops, mussels, clams, all bivalves, which we were saying earlier is a mandate that we want to push forward to eat more lower down the food chain, more sustainably, more regeneratively. Even the kelp I'm super proud of. You may not ever think that the kelp is like a showpiece, but to me, that is the most important part of this whole story, because this is macro kelp from Banfield, harvested by two professors of kelp, which is incredible. And I'm some of their biggest fans, and the fact that kelp is sort of represented so it's an afterthought, but we're using this to kind of surround it and create like this frame BC, frame the bottom of our ocean, where we are bringing up sustainability.
Well, and I hope your customers get a feel for that when they come in. I know you can't go to every table and tell them, do you know what you're getting?
Hey, we got about a minute or two left. Let's quickly talk about this. You alluded to this dish earlier, but let's talk a bit about the special element you bring.
Sure. It's I think anything we do when we're cooking is communicating with each other, and when we communicate with each other, we need to be present with each other. And that being said, something I really enjoy doing, and I basically make it a mission of mine to talk to and reach out to every single table that comes by, especially when they order our oysters, is that we like to torch it tableside.
Very nice. Wow. Boy, this is all you. Congratulations. You've been here for a couple months now, and of course have great history in a lot of restaurants in the Vancouver and BC area. So thank you, William, for joining us. We're going to come back, right? At the very end.
We are.
Yeah, we'll come back to Bruno to wrap things up a little later in the show. Well, this Inside Business segment has me out in South Richmond with a gentleman who has he's led a pretty spectacular life and done a lot of interesting things. I'm sitting in one of two of his showrooms here on his property, collectibles, antique cars, just eye candy everywhere. It's just great stuff. It is a great pleasure to welcome Jim Ratsoy to our show. Jim, welcome to our city tonight.
Thank you.
Lots to talk a bit about. Let's just start with the cars. You remodeled, worked on your first car in, I think it's 1959. It was a Model T Ford. Were you always in love with cars and antique cars? I know you were a car dealer for a lot of years, we should say, including here in Richmond. But talk about that love and that first Model T Ford.
Well, that was the first car that I restored, and it was kind of a workshop, you can say. But it was neat, and once we got it down, it was good. In fact, I sold it to Melton's Real Estate in Edmonton.
Wow.
When I moved.
Yeah. You're doing that, you're selling cars as well, but what's interesting is, are you doing both at the same time, or is your full attention just on having a dealership here and in other cities that you've had them in?
Well, no, I didn't. That was sort of a sideline. That wasn't the main line. I had to make the others go. I've been 57 years on my own in the car business.
Yeah. And we should say, people can see the cars behind us, and they're all in great shape. You just recently sold over 100?
I sold 100, went to Beijing.
Wow. One of my dear friends, he's a consultant on our show, Neil. He loves cars. He had a great question he wanted to ask you, which I will claim credit for. He said, where do you find parts for something like this? Packard here is in spectacular condition.
You can search and go and you can find them.
Yeah.
And there is a dealer U.S. side, but it's all U.S. side. One of the problems that we've had, for instance, that 53 Buick, the blue one behind us here, that car probably cost me about 30% more money to finish up because of the things that are going on. The U.S. is going crazy for some reason.
And how often are you having to start them up? I mean, do you have to take them out for a spin
we
every once in a while?
get them started up and get them running and so forth. You got to do that, and you got to do that about. We try to do it every 6 months, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But you got to do that, and you got to keep the batteries up and things like that.
It's amazing when we've been looking at your two showrooms, as I said, about 30,000 square feet. Everywhere you look, there's something that's catching your eye, and you were showing me some of the interesting. You know, you've got a great collection of jukeboxes, but before they were jukeboxes, and I'm going back to like the World War I, 1920s era, a couple of things I'd never heard of before, including a Regina phone.
Yeah.
You've got a Violana.
Violana, yeah.
Violana, and you've also got a fairy phonograph lamp. Can
Right.
tell our viewers about these things. I'd never seen these before, but it's the early days of jukebox and record players.
Right. Well, before the jukebox, they had the piano. And the piano was tuned in into different, I can show you.
Which you have here as well, yeah.
Right. I have two of them, one in 1906 and one is in 1912, I believe. But they had the piano and they had that tuned up that they could tune in to a song separately.
Right.
It was all set up with knobs and so forth to tune that. And then the jukebox came out. And that's where it originated from. Like the lamp, that's a different story. It's a different manufacturer and so forth. There's a lot of different things. There was a lot of stuff made U.S. There was Chicago was a big place for.
Yeah, Chicago seems to have its name on a lot of projects.
I have it's a drum machine, which I'll show you further up. It's a table and everything. It's in the 1800s, and I had the governor went on it, and we had the fellow do some gears for us, and that didn't work. It wasn't good enough, and I sent it to a lady in New York who had somebody that could fix it up, and they overhauled it and did the whole thing.
Wow.
And brought it back in, and we got it working 100%.
Yeah, I like the one you've got up there that's quite large, that Strike Up the Band, that
band,
Belgian
right.
band. It's just...
Well, that was made in 1931.
Yeah, wow, remarkable.
Yeah, and if you look inside, most of all wood.
Yeah, I mean, the craftsmanship is the thing that always attracts me and I find so interesting. The craftsmanship on some of this stuff, the stereos, the TVs, other things, it's just remarkable.
One of the things that I kind of regret in a sense when I went to school, we were always told that the old times the people didn't have the machines or the tools or anything else to do all this.
Right.
Yet when you study all this and you get into it, there's stuff 18, 16, 1700s that's made. There's a guy, and VJ asked me if I saw it, and I've seen this thing, but a watchmaker that made a fellow writing, and they could write a note or a letter, and all mechanical.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
Not a typewriter, nothing.
Yeah.
This wrote, and real nice writing. I've seen it, but it's years ago that I've seen it.
Yeah, and like with these cars, they're just these things are meant to last for decades, which isn't certainly the case anymore with our phones and everything else.
Right.
It's meant to replace.
Yeah, but there's actually, if anybody's ever interested, there's a program that comes on that's been on a couple times this year, and it's Ford and General Motors and everybody that started in the old times and going through, and it's well worth watching. It's about 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. It's amazing too, your collection really is a kind of a walk through the last 100 years of things and how they first looked and developed and evolved and changed, be it the car, be it the phonograph, be it the television. We're seeing a few of those around here. It's just fascinating to see all this stuff. You have a great website called grandpasoldcars.com,
right.
which I love. You also, I want to ask you one last thing. You also have written a lot about the auto industry and automobiles themselves.
I have
over
some
75 articles.
Yeah.
What do you like to write about? Just the buying, the fixing up of?
Well, no, it was what I gathered on that was what every car was, so to say, that to give you an idea. It wasn't necessarily fixing it up or anything like that.
Wow. I got to ask too, are people able to come see this? I know COVID over the last year has put a halt to a lot of things, but
right.
People seeing this on our show today, are people able to get information through the website, or are they able to come here? Are tours allowed?
I let people in 1 or 2 at a time, and they can call me. My phone number's there.
Okay,
And I arrange accordingly, single.
Okay. This has been a real thrill. I got to tell you, for collectors out there, this is just heaven. This is what you want to see. We appreciate you opening up your doors for us today, Jim. It's Jim Ransway. Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
Cheers.
Yeah.
It's Jim Ransway. He's in the spotlight in this edition of Inside Business on Our City Tonight. Well, we're back here to wrap up the show at Bruno Restaurant here in the fairly new Versanti Hotel in Richmond. And Brad, what I like for our viewers is that we can tell you, you guys are very close to the Arthur Lang Bridge, but also close to Oak Street, which is better known as 99 when you get to this part of Richmond, and very close to the airport.
Indeed, we're just south of the Fraser here in Richmond, and it's been great to open up in such a rich culinary town.
Perfect. And so Bruno is open.
Bruno is open for business, breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week, welcoming everyone to explore our offerings.
Wonderful.
That's great. And talk a bit about, I mean, we've been seeing how many people are in here today. Obviously the hotel is full, but talk about how Richmond has embraced you in the few months you've been open.
Yeah, it's been a real honor to join what is already such a rich culinary scene and culture. And the locals have come out and supported us. I think we're hopefully a welcome addition and a unique offering in this neighborhood. And I believe that it's the start of something in this area that will have much more to come in the future.
Yes, definitely the spot to watch for. So.
And we did, folks, we tell you, we had some great cocktails and some great food. So we can attest to that. Anyway, from Bruno, a restaurant here in the Versanti Hotel in Richmond, I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapin.
We'll see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight. Outdoor wear for Jim and Lita provided by Helly Hansen, alive since 1877.
Soluzione Spa Products, a national luxury spa product distribution company located in North Vancouver, British Columbia.